Turning to her current residence, Yifan looked around and felt it was time to move. Her colleague Lin's roommate had just moved out, so she took Yifan to see the apartment, saying they would split the rent and utilities. Though the rent was much higher than her current place, Yifan desperately needed a safe living environment and immediately agreed. That day, Lin was invited to dinner by her crush. Their relationship was still in an awkward phase, not quite friends but not officially a couple either. She insisted on dragging Yifan along despite her repeated refusals. As soon as Su Hao saw Yifan, he recognized her. They had been high school classmates 8 years ago. She took the back seat, only to realize someone was napping inside. Su Hao woke the person up, and Yifan froze. It was Sang Yan. The atmosphere in the car became even more awkward. That evening, the group ate and chatted enthusiastically, but Yifan couldn't fully blend in. She excused herself to go to the restroom, and on her way out, she ran into Sang Yan. Their conversation was anything but friendly, and she quickly returned to the dining table. Making an excuse, she left early. For some reason, Sang Yan followed her outside. He asked her to help find where Su Hao's car was parked. Yifan asked him to drive her home because it was late and difficult to find a taxi right away. While in the car, memories of the past flooded her mind. After arriving, she bid Sang Yan farewell and went inside. However, he didn't drive off immediately. Instead, he got out of the car and observed the surroundings. Inside, Yifan realized her cat was missing. Panicking, she called out its name and followed the sound of its meows. She discovered her cat in the hands of a man in another room. Beside him stood 2 other men, all staring at her with hostile expressions. One of them sneered, "She's the one who got his brother locked up. Time to teach her a lesson." Before she could react, the 3 men lunged at her. Yifan ran for her life. They pursued her into a dead-end alley. As they closed in with menacing smiles, Yifan felt utterly trapped, until she heard Sang Yan's voice. She saw him calling out to her while hurling objects at the men. Taking the chance, she climbed up the wall, and they swiftly escaped to his car. Sang Yan struggled with 3 thugs but still managed to escape. They went straight to the police station to report the incident. Noticing he had been injured, Yifan bought ointment and carefully applied it to his wound. At that moment, the distance between them seemed to shrink. Worried about her, Sang Yan followed her, helped her pack her luggage when she got home, and then escorted her to the new place she rented. When Sang Yan got back to the car, he found the key to the shared apartment that Yifan had left on the passenger seat, so he quietly went to the shared apartment alone. He happened to hear the 3 people talking about secretly filming, so Sang Yan gave them a feast to confirm whether they had secretly filmed. The following day, Yifan and her colleagues saw Lin stepping out of a luxury car. Soon, rumors spread that she had landed a rich boyfriend and was planning to quit her job. Meanwhile, Yifan's former landlord asked her to return the key, but she couldn't find it anywhere. At that moment, she received a message from Sang Yan. He had her key. They agreed to meet at his restaurant later to retrieve it. Lin received a call from her ex-boyfriend and coldly told him she wanted to break up. He was reluctant to let go, but Lin had already found a new path and refused to waver. The ex-boyfriend rushed over, attempting to win her back, but she remained indifferent. She even insisted he take back the expensive bags he had given her. Later, Lin officially informed Yifan that she was resigning. She lamented that she still couldn't afford a luxury bag after working so hard for a month. Since her new job was far from here, she had to move out. Yifan panicked. She had just moved in and couldn't possibly afford it alone. Lin reassured her, promising to forego her deposit and help find a suitable roommate. That evening, Yifan went to Sang Yan's restaurant to retrieve her key. Since he had helped her, she sincerely invited him to dinner as a thank you. However, Sang Yan refused, not wanting to take advantage of her. Just then, his phone rang. A frantic voice on the other end informed him that his house was on fire. Sang Yan remained calm and told them to call the fire department. Yifan immediately sensed a potential newsworthy event and wanted to go there for an on-site report. Sang Yan gave her an exasperated look. It started raining as they took the TV station's vehicle to his home. The fire had been put out by the time they arrived, but his house had suffered the most damage. Yifan interviewed the neighbors while her colleague asked Sang Yan how he felt about the incident. Uncertain how to respond, he coldly snapped at them. "I'm overjoyed. Hope you all get to experience this kind of happiness, too. Afterward, Yifan went to return the key to her former landlord, only to find the place empty. The landlord complained that she had scared away all the tenants by calling the police. Returning to her new apartment, Yifan was startled. The door was left open. She cautiously stepped inside, phone in hand, ready to call the police. Just then, Sang Yan emerged from inside. It turned out that he was looking for a temporary place to stay since his home had burned down and needed renovations. Hearing that Lin Lin was searching for a new roommate, Sahao conveniently arranged for Sang Yan to move in. Yifan was furious at Lin Lin for setting her up to co-rent with a man. Sang Yan wasn't thrilled either and called Sahao to complain. However, he laughed it off, saying he was simply creating an opportunity for Sang Yan and his white moonlight. With no other choice, Yifan let him stay for the night. Sang Yan promised to move out in 3 months once his house was renovated. She suggested they think it over and decide after work the next day. The following morning, when Yifan woke up, she discovered that Sang Yan hadn't stayed the night at all. That evening, Yifan and Sang Yan officially discussed their co-living arrangement. He readily agreed to all her conditions without hesitation. Not only that, but he even volunteered to pay a higher rent while taking the smaller room. When she returned from the market, she saw moving workers carrying furniture into the apartment. Seeing Sang Yan, he awkwardly explained that he had bought some furniture. As she played with her cat in her room, the workers brought various cat toys, saying her boyfriend had ordered them. Yifan glanced at Sang Yan, who remained indifferent, and said he added them to reach the minimum order amount. Si Chao was startled awake early in the morning by her ringing phone. Her mother scolded her for not returning home the previous night. She groggily opened her eyes and realized she was in an unfamiliar room. The real shock came when she saw Sahao sleeping next to her. Panicking, she immediately hung up on her mother and pulled back her blanket, letting out a scream. Upon seeing her, he also screamed in shock. Si Chao instinctively kicked him off the bed and demanded what had happened. Neither of them remembered the previous night's events, so they decided to check the building's surveillance footage. As it turned out, Sahao had been heartbroken after Lin Lin dumped him. Seeing his miserable state, Si Chao comforted him, and they drank together. Feeling guilty, Sahao prepared breakfast. They ate silently, finally agreeing to pretend the whole night had never happened and never bring it up again. Yifan was working when her colleague enthusiastically brought her coffee and snacks. Just as she was about to thank him, he casually draped his arm over her shoulder in an overly familiar way. Terrified, she let out a startled scream and ran out of the office. Outside, she overheard many colleagues gossiping about her. Sitting alone, memories of her past came rushing back. Back then, her former chief editor had constantly made unwanted advances, sending her late-night messages and touching her inappropriately. One day, his wife stormed into the office, slapped Yifan across the face, and accused her of seducing her husband. No one gave her a chance to defend herself. Unable to endure the humiliation, she left the newspaper and returned to Nanwu. Even in high school, rumors had followed her. Because of her beauty, her classmates were jealous. Some claimed she had first dated Sang Yan, then moved on to Shang Lang, a wealthier student, earning her the nickname Wen Flower Vase. She never argued back because she knew she couldn't stop people from talking. But Sang Yan didn't let it slide. He grabbed the guy spreading rumors and forced him to apologize to Yifan and himself. That night, Yifan joined a call from Si Chao, and Shang Lang, who had been abroad, had returned. The three friends decided to have a reunion dinner. Sang Yan had been eavesdropping and immediately joined the conversation after Yifan hung up. Casually, he suggested they hold the gathering at his restaurant, saying it was a way to support his business. Much to Si Chao's dismay, Sahao was also there with Sang Yan. Sang Yan took the initiative, saying that since they were all former classmates, it made sense to have dinner together. During the dinner, everyone sat together. Shang Lang specially prepared her favorite dipping sauce for Yifan, showing off the friendship between them as they grew up together, which made Sang Yan extremely jealous and frown the whole time. After dinner, everyone moved to the overtime bar. While Sang Yan wasn't here, Si Chao asked Yifan if living with Sang Yan had been pleasant. She smiled and said it was okay. To make things more fun, they decided to play truth or dare. In the first round, he drew the important card to choose a present for someone to kiss. although Sang Yan resisted in every way. Sehao kissed him when he was not paying attention and left proudly. It was Yifan's turn to play truth or dare. She mentioned several advantages of Shang Lang at once. And Sang Yan was jealous. About Shang Lang, he said that his biggest regret was that he did not go to Yihei University with Yifan, as they had agreed. After hearing this, Sang Yan recalled that when she broke up with him, she said that she had an appointment to go to Yihei University. She really didn't like Sang Yan, who was always looking for her. Another reason for choosing Yihei University was that she could stay away from Sang Yan. The next day, Yifan's mother came to the company to find her, wanting her to go home to celebrate New Year's Eve together, and emphasized that her sister agreed. Yifan did not say something and left. The clip of Sang Yan being interviewed was intercepted by netizens and made into a trending video. He became a hot search figure on a certain website. Yifan went home and watched it. Sang Yan's appearance startled her. The new year is coming soon, so the station needs to arrange for the people on duty in advance. Mrs. Qian called the names one by one, but no one was willing. At this time, Sang Yan's message came, and he told Yifan that he would not go home before the 8th day of the new year. Seeing this, she volunteered to work overtime. This solved Mrs. Qian's dilemma. On New Year's Eve, Yifan called Si Chao to let her experience the lively atmosphere of her big family. Her mother also called via video, happily celebrating the new year with her stepfather's family, and sincerely wished Yifan a happy new year. As soon as he entered the house, Sang Yan went straight to the kitchen to cook. Thanks to him, she finally had dumplings on New Year's Eve. She hadn't expected Sang Yan to be such a good cook, and she also felt the warmth of reunion because of his arrival. After dinner, the two sat together watching the Spring Festival Gala. Yifan found this year's show quite enjoyable. It turned out that watching TV wasn't about the content itself but about who you were watching it with. Unknowingly, Yifan fell asleep. When she woke up, she was a bit embarrassed that she had dozed off. She wished Sang Yan good night and sincerely wished him a happy new year, thinking that this gave the moment a proper sense of ceremony. Sang Yan recalled Yifan's situation back then. Her father died, her mother remarried, and she had nowhere to go overnight. Yifan was sent to live with her grandmother. But unfortunately, her grandmother was too old and passed away soon after. Later, she was sent to live with her aunt. Once, when Yifan went shopping, she found that the 20 yuan given by her aunt was missing. Just when she was worried that she would be sent to another place, Sang Yan appeared. She had no choice but to borrow 20 yuan from Sang Yan. He said that if she lost money again in the future, she could call him directly and he would lend her as much as she wanted. One day, the head teacher once called Sang Yan's parents and Yifan's uncle and aunt to the school. He wanted to discuss with them how to deal with the problem of their early love. In order not to embarrass Yifan, Sang Yan took the initiative to stand up and admit that they were not in early love. He simply didn't want to see her being bullied at school. After hearing this, the teacher had to let it go but only asked both parents to pay more attention to their children and let them concentrate on preparing for the college entrance examination. The aunt pushed Yifan with gritted teeth, while Sang Yan's parents were relatively more relaxed. His father even praised Sang Yan for his good vision, and his mother also advised him that if he really liked Yifan, he should be patient and wait until he was admitted to university. Sang Yan's sister was named Sang Ji. He asked his sister to create a play to meet Yifan. The little girl cried and said she couldn't find her brother, then asked Yifan to help her go to the place her brother had arranged to meet. Yifan knew that Sang Yan deliberately asked his sister to pretend to be lost and met her in order to treat her to ice cream. Back in reality, Sang Ji visits his brother. Yifan opens the door, making Sang Ji suspect that the two are in love. Both deny it and say they are just friends. Then Sang Ji said that Sang Yan's parents were not happy that he had not returned home. Sang Yan's secrets were all confessed to Yifan by his sister. He was a little embarrassed, so he stopped Sang Ji from talking. In the evening, he prepared the meal and asked Sang Ji to invite Yifan. For his sister's sake, she agreed. When they talked about college, Sang Ji was curious about why Yifan didn't go to Nanwu University. In terms of majors, Nanwu was obviously better. She smiled and said nothing. Sang Yan said he was also curious, but Yifan still tried to evade the question, and he left the table angrily. After taking Sang Ji home, Sang Yan returned to his residence and found Yifan watching others set off fireworks on the balcony. She said that when she was a child, she liked watching others set off fireworks the most. Sang Yan didn't say anything after hearing it. The next morning, Yifan came to work, and the security guard handed her an envelope. It turned out that her mother came to give her. She thought about it and picked up the phone to call her mother. The mother on the other end of the phone seemed a little anxious and incoherent. After getting off work, Yifan came to her mother's house with gifts and found that her stepfather and sister were not at home. Her mother cooked a meal and asked her to eat it while it was hot. At this moment, a child's voice sounded, and the mother hurried over to pick up a little boy from the stairs. Yifan found it incredible that a mother of such an old age had given birth to another son. Then someone came down from upstairs and shouted loudly after seeing Yifan. Yifan saw the person she least wanted to see, her aunt. The aunt was still as annoying as ever, and she boasted in front of Yifan, saying how she had taken care of her in the past, and now she wanted to repay her kindness. Her son needed to buy a wedding house for his marriage, and Yifan needed financial support. Yifan was very angry after hearing this and couldn't help but retort a few words to her aunt. She then told the mother that she would never come here again. After that, she went back to the rental house. Sang Yan was setting off fireworks downstairs. A group of children surrounded him to watch fireworks. She remembered when she was a child. She was so happy and carefree when she set off fireworks with her father. Remember that year? Yifan's mother drove a BMW to the school gate to persuade her to give up dancing because the fees were too high and she couldn't afford it. But her sister was different. If she didn't study art, she wouldn't be able to go to college. After seeing Yifan's lonely expression, Sang Yan took her to an abandoned elementary school dance hall. This was a good place to practice dancing. There were still a few intact mirrors. Seeing Yifan dancing like a little swan, he showed a proud smile on his face. In the dream, Yifan was awakened by a knock on the door. Her uncle and aunt rushed in, shouting that her mother sold her to them, and reached out to grab Yifan. She struggled desperately to run out. It was dark. She walked forward tremblingly and kept walking. Finally, she saw a burst of light in front of her. Sang Yan had just come out of the shower and saw Yifan pushing the door in. She ignored Sang Yan's mumbling and gently put her head on his chest. Sang Yan was panicked and excited, standing nervously in place and dared not move. After letting him go, Yifan turned around and went back to her room silently, leaving Sang Yan awake all night. The next day, he sent a message to ask her what was going on. Yifan didn't understand and looked confused. When she went out, Yifan saw Sang Yan lying on the sofa, shaking his legs constantly. She asked Sang Yan if there was anything wrong. Sang Yan asked her again what she meant. She thought she was angry because she didn't accompany him to finish setting off the fireworks and thought he was stingy. Sang Yan was even more confused by this behavior of flirting and running away. After work, Yifan talked about her dream with her colleagues. She dreamed that she entered a very large forest, so she kept walking and walking, trying to find the exit. Later, it was dark and cold. She suddenly remembered that she had seen the sun on the way there, so she turned around and wanted to find the sun to keep warm. After seeing the sun, she came out, and Yifan still remembered that when she saw the sun, she couldn't help hugging it. Shang Lang invited Si Chao to dinner. She asked what Shang Lang meant by giving her a bracelet on her birthday and whether he liked her a little. After being rejected, Si Chao timidly asked him if they could develop a relationship in the future. At this time, Yifan arrived. It turned out that today was a dinner for 3 people. Shang Lang explained in front of Yifan that he wanted to ask Si Chao to pass the bracelet to her. Si Chao realized all this time that she had always thought it was for her. She decided to take off the bracelet and left with an excuse. Yifan met and went to drink with Si Chao. After they opened their hearts, they bought a couple of bracelets. Si Chao was curious whether Yifan had liked Sang Yan, and she admitted that. As for the reason why they were not together, she said that she was a cold person and liked to avoid others. She felt that people like Sang Yan should be loved passionately. On the way to work, Yifan saw a young homeless man playing guitar on the corner of the street. She thought she had seen him somewhere, so she looked at him more, and the boy smiled at her. At this time, a real homeless man walked towards Yifan naked. When the boy saw him, he hurriedly took off his coat and wrapped the homeless man. Finally, they went to the police station, and the young man explained the situation. It turned out that he was an actor named Mu Cheng-yun, who was experiencing life as a homeless man. Su Tian found a new roommate for Yifan so that it would be easier for them to get along. Yifan replied that she had to ask Sang Yan when he would move out. After getting off work, she received a WeChat message from Sang Yan, asking her to rush to the supermarket to help carry things. While waiting for him at the entrance of the supermarket, Yifan searched for Mu Cheng-yun's information. Suddenly, Sang Yan looked over and saw him. He said sourly, "It turns out you like this type of person." Yifan asked Sang Yan when he would move out. Her colleague introduced her to a female roommate. Seeing that the situation was not good, he immediately took the initiative. He paid the bill and even carried her things. When going out, it started to rain. When Yifan was waiting for Sang Yan to get an umbrella, Cheng Yun came over with an umbrella and said that he could take her home. Sang Yan domineeringly pushed Mu Cheng-yun aside, said that there was no need to trouble him, and his expression was obviously jealous. After returning, Yifan saw that Sang Yan's clothes were soaked, so she quickly made him some cold medicine. The couple spent the evening together watching horror movies. The next day, Sang Yan dressed neatly and came to Su Hao's company for an interview. With his unique insights into games and superb skills, he was successfully hired. Su Hao invited Si Chao to have dinner and was very happy that she could treat him as a friend. Seeing his hands were not well cared for, she gave him a box of hand cream. This made Si Hao touched. In the evening, everyone celebrated Sang Yan's job. He didn't want to attend, but he rushed over after learning that Yifan was there. The four talked about their views on first love and marriage. Everyone had different feelings and understandings. Sang Yan looked at Yifan with resentment and said that men would care more about their first love, but women would not. When they were in school, Sang Yan often went to visit Yifan. One time, the two were reading a book and her aunt calling. She urgently ordered her to buy something and go home quickly. Yifan packed her school bag and hurriedly said goodbye to Sang Yan. In a hurry, she dropped a book. When Sang Yan saw it, he hurriedly took the book and chased after her. He followed her to a dilapidated family building. He heard the reprimand of Yifan's aunt from inside, as well as Yifan's cowardly excuses. Back to reality. When Yifan came to work, her aunt blocked the door. She asked Yifan to forgive her for what happened before. She also said that she would introduce a big boss to her as her husband. Yifan impatiently pushed her away, and her phone fell to the ground. She started scolding Yifan and even demanded to pay for the phone. Fu Zhuang and the guard came and drove her away. In the evening, Sang Yan came to the living room after washing up. Yifan walked out unconsciously with a dull look in his eyes like last time. Sang Yan greeted her, but she ignored him. After wandering around the room aimlessly, she groped back to her bedroom. Sang Yan was very confused. What was going on with Yifan? When she woke up in the morning, Yifan found that she had fallen asleep without taking off her clothes. She had an appointment with Si Chao today, so she hurriedly said hello to Sang Yan and ran away without saying anything about what happened last night. They came to eat noodles together and suddenly met Jing Yu, a former high school classmate. She was married and had children and became a full-time housewife. The first thing she said when she saw Yifan was to ask her how she and Sang Yan were doing. The two had no intention of eating anymore and left. Si Chao ridiculed Jing Yu for still thinking about Sang Yan. That year, she had been pursuing Sang Yan but was rejected by him in public. Yifan recalled the situation at that time and said with guilt that her mother and uncle's family regarded her as a burden at that time, and only Sang Yan had always brought her warmth. But she hurt him the most and had no chance to apologize. Si Chao hoped that Yifan could apologize to Sang Yan, and she listened. After Yifan came back, she wanted to say sorry to Sang Yan, but she couldn't open her mouth. Sang Yan cooked chicken soup for her, making her touch. Yifan admitted that she used to sleepwalk, but it was only after her father passed away. Sang Yan said that he saw her sleepwalking. She hugged and kissed him after sleepwalking. Yifan blushed in embarrassment, but Sang Yan felt interested. Yifan suggested that the case be replayed. Unexpectedly, as soon as she finished speaking, Sang Yan lowered his head and approached her. Yifan was confused for a moment and quickly stepped back, ran into the room and told Sang Yan to protect himself in the future when encountering such a situation. Sang Yan searched online about her sleepwalking. It only appears in people with great pressure in life, depressed mood or panic disorder. It can also be a mark in the heart after suffering a trauma. The next day, Yifan went to the cemetery to see her father and told him that she was doing well and that her mother was doing well. Sang Yan went home in the evening and bought chicken soup for Yifan. Her eyes suddenly turned red, and she choked up and said thank you. In order to avoid sleepwalking again, Yifan blocked the door, but she still came out at night. Sang Yan's face appeared in her dream. Sang Yan deliberately lowered his head and hugged her. Yifan kissed him very gently and then went back to her room. Sang Yan was stunned as if he had been electrocuted. The next day, Yifan woke up in the morning and found that all the chairs that had been blocking the door the night before were gone. She realized that she had sleepwalked again. She asked Sang Yan if she had done anything inappropriate. Sang Yan said that she had done more excessive than before, and it was a bit hard to say. At work, there are 2 new interns in the station, and one of them is Mu Cheng-yun. He was arranged to intern under Yifan. The landlord asked for the rent, and Yifan asked Sang Yan. He transferred $5,000 to Yifan, saying that he would slowly deduct the money in the future and would stay until Yifan paid off the debt. Yifan was confused. During the meeting, she took over the news topic of a mother looking for her daughter. Mu Cheng-yun asked if he could get a reward if everything went well. Yifan did not respond, but her mind flashed with the cake reward that Sang Yan gave her when she passed the art exam. The mother in the case ran from Nanwu to Yihei to find her daughter, which means Yifan has to go to Yihei as well. Mu Cheng-yun sticks to Yifan all day long and waits for her to get off work together. Si Chao realized Mu Cheng-yun was interested in Yifan, but she didn't think so. She asked Si Chao to sleep with her at night and accidentally ran into Jia Shu and Sang Yan coming out of the room in their pajamas. She immediately understood and smiled. When they were having breakfast, Sang Yan said that he brought Jia Shu back to protect himself. Yifan told him that she would not come back at night because she was going to Yihei for a few days. Yifan and Mu Cheng-yun met the mother in the case. From her nagging narration, Yifan felt that she was very similar to her mother. Her daughter must have been unable to bear her family's kidnapping and constant demands, so she chose to leave without saying goodbye. After learning about the mother and daughter's situation, Yifan was ready to return. Su Tian called and said that the daughter had been found and was teaching children to dance in Hong Kong. Yifan and Mu Cheng-yun immediately went to Hong Kong. After arriving, she reported to Sang Yan. Sang Yan heard Mu Cheng-yun's voice on the phone and became alert. They found the mother's daughter. As expected, she left because she couldn't stand her mother's suffocating control. Her mother remarried and gave birth to a son, but the son ran away with her husband, so her mother came back to find her. At the end of the interview, both girls sympathize with each other. Yifan noticed that the little girl was making the wrong moves, so she stepped in to give her some guidance. The little girl corrected the moves and thanked Yifan profusely while everyone was amazed at her talent, especially Mu Cheng-yun. Sang Yan went to the airport to pick up Yifan and asked if she had sleepwalking. When she answered negatively, he was relieved. On the way, Sang Yan asked her about the situation along the way and whether she had found her classmates to reminisce after arriving in Yihei. For her, 4 years of college and 2 years of internship in Yihei did not leave her with anything to linger on. If possible, she would rather never have been to Yihei. Yifan showed the interview video to the mother and advised her to give her daughter freedom. While editing the video, Mu Cheng-yun came over and patted her shoulder gently, saying that the station would hold a welcome party for him and another classmate in the evening, and he hoped that she could attend. Unable to resist the strong invitation of colleagues, she agreed. The party was arranged at the overtime bar. She leaned on the railing on the 2nd floor and enjoyed the moments. Sang Yan happened to see Yifan upstairs. He had never seen her so comfortable and relaxed since the day he met her again. At this time, Mu Cheng-yun came to Yifan and said in a very literary way that he would stand on her left because it would be closer to her heart. When they were walking down the stairs, Sang Yan suddenly appeared, forcibly separated the two, and then stuffed Mu Cheng-yun into the back seat. When they arrived at the gate of Nanwu University, he carried Mu Cheng-yun and left. It turned out that he could tell at a glance that Mu Cheng-yun was pretending to be drunk. Yifan was drunk and fell into Sang Yan's arms as soon as he got out of the elevator. He looked at Yifan with her hands on his chest and asked her if she wanted to pursue him. Yifan waved her hand and said that she had not considered it yet and would tell him when she did. Sang Yan asked Yifan to drink less in the future. He made some honey water for Yifan. Looking at him, she thought of her father and suddenly felt sad. Lying on the bed, she suddenly felt that she was very bad to Sang Yan. Under the influence of alcohol, Yifan walked out of the bedroom and wanted to do what she had always wanted to do but hadn't done. Sang Yan thought she was sleepwalking again. She hugged him tightly. Sang Yan couldn't help but reach out and hug her. She went back to her room and covered her face in embarrassment. The next day, as soon as she left the room, Sang Yan said that Yifan was very restrained. She only hugged him. She quickly ate a few mouthfuls of food and took the opportunity to escape. Sang Yan said that he was going to a meeting near the TV station and could take her with him. Upon arrival, he suddenly saw Mu Chengyun coming over. So he touched Yifan's head on the pretext that there was something on her head. Mu Chengyun had been waiting for Yifan to get off work, saying that he wanted to go to see where they lived and planned to share the rent with her after Sang Yan moved out. Sang Yan saw Mu Chengyun's face change instantly, and the atmosphere began to freeze. Mu Chengyun told Sang Yan he would be Yifan's next roommate. Just when he was about to visit Sang Yan's bedroom, Yifan and Sang Yan said simultaneously that it was inappropriate, so he stopped. She asked him to go back. After sending Mu Chengyun away, Sang Yan stood up and said he had not asked to move out. So why was she so eager to let him leave? Yifan didn't answer and hurried back to her room. She remembered that when her father died, the person she cared about might suddenly leave her one day. Or maybe like her mother, he will abandon her for his own happiness. She hated this feeling and was not used to adapting to another person's existence. Although Sang Yan once said that no matter what happened, he would always be with her, she was always afraid of the feeling of the other person leaving. The next day, Sang Yan cooked porridge for her, but she didn't eat it. She reminded herself not to get used to it. No matter how beautiful things are, they will disappear one day. Mu Chengyun specially prepared breakfast for Yifan, but she didn't accept it. He reminded Yifan to distinguish who was really good to her. She told him that she could determine what bad habits are. Yifan's mother went to the TV station to find her and said she had talked to her aunt and would significantly compensate her in the future, hoping to get Yifan's forgiveness. Yifan was too tired of what happened to her, so she chose to leave. At night, Yifan sleepwalked again. Sang Yan watched her and summed up a pattern. She would sleepwalk whenever she was in a bad mood or drunk. She walked to the door of Sang Yan's room. He hurried forward to stop her, and Yifan obediently returned to her room. The next day, Mu Chengyun asked Yifan to go to the mall with him on the pretext of picking a gift for his senior's daughter. She refused, but he was unwilling to give in. When he saw something on Yifan's neck, he touched it. She stepped aside in horror and pushed his hand away. Sang Ji came to find her brother, but he was not there. Sang Ji told Yifan a lot about her brother's past, especially when he made an appointment with his first love to go to Nanjing University, but the other party broke the appointment. Sang Yan was very shocked. After hearing this, she felt even more guilty towards him. That night, Yifan was sleepwalking again. She opened Sang Yan's door and lay down. The next day, Yifan woke up and found Sang Yan was still sleeping with his arms around her. She quickly checked her clothes and pulled off his arm to escape, but Sang Yan still discovered her. Yifan explained that she might have sleepwalked again yesterday and walked into the wrong room. Sang Yan concealed his inner joy but said with an unhappy face that she always used this reason to explain what she did. Yifan didn't know how to deal with it. She said that she would be late for work and would talk about it when she came back. Yifan asked Si Chao indirectly what to do if she shared a bed with someone, but Si Chao was called away by Uncle Ma before she could analyze it for her. It was a rare occasion that Yifan got off work early, but she didn't dare to go home. In fact, she really didn't know how to face Sang Yan. Before, Mu Chengyun wanted her to take him to buy toys for his friend's children, but she refused. Today, she took the initiative to tell him she wanted to go to the mall. The two talked about Sang Yan on the way. Yifan learned that Sang Yan had lost control of his emotions because of his first love on the graduation ceremony day. Yifan felt heartbroken when he heard it. She returned home and met Sang Yan, who was half naked in the bathroom. She was confused and reminded Sang Yan incoherently to lock the door before showering. He had been drinking before, and under the influence of alcohol. He poked Yifan's face, leaned close and said, "You're blushing." It was the first time that Yifan saw a half-naked man, so she quickly kept her distance from him. Sang Yan approached her and said, "We kissed and hugged each other and even slept in the same bed. What's wrong with seeing naked bodies?" She hurriedly returned to her room and decided not to go to bed to avoid sleepwalking again. Yifan felt that the past was like a mark engraved in his heart, which could never be erased. Today, Sang Yan didn't go home, so she invited Si Chao to sleep with her. In the middle of the night, Si Chao suddenly woke up and found that Yifan was not around. When she went out to look for her, she unexpectedly saw Yifan lying on Sang Yan's bed. Yifan went to see a doctor, who warned her to relieve stress. Si Chao said Sang Yan was her stress, but Yifan denied it. At this time, the faces of her mother and aunt appeared in her mind. The next day, Sang Yan's mother brought a girl to meet him. She recognized Yifan as her son's first love. It turned out that Sang Ji had told her about their sharing a house. She came here on purpose today. She told Sang Yan that if he liked her, he should chase her. Yifan mistakenly thought that Sang Yan was interested in that girl, and she even lost interest in cooking. The rice was burnt. Just when she was worried, Sang Yan came back with food. During dinner, she commented that he had been dressing a bit cool lately. Sang Yan said proudly that his face makes people commit crimes easily so that she can restrain herself a little. He sat beside her, put his face close, and asked her if she dared. Yifan quickly dodged and asked why she should dare. Yifan arrived at the office early in the morning when her colleague's water broke. The doctor said the situation was a bit dangerous and they needed to notify the child's father. Su Tian gave birth to a girl smoothly. When she came out of the operating room, her boyfriend expressed his love and was willing to take care of her and the child. Yifan sent a message to Sang Yan, feeling that life was remarkable. She returned home at night and found Sang Yan still awake. She asked her to help get a cardboard box from the refrigerator. It turned out that today was her birthday. She smiled, said thank you to him, and took a photo of Sang Yan holding the cake. He was curious about her wish. She said it was about work. Sang Yan said with a little frustration, "I thought you wished for me to be your lover." The two sat together tacitly to eat cake as if there was an invisible current flowing between them. There was not only cake but also gifts. When Yifan went to get the gift, Sang Yan touched her head and said gently, "Happy birthday." He returned to the room before her surprise. She opened the gift from Sang Yan, a perfume bottle with the words, "First Frost," printed on it. She didn't expect that he remembered her nickname Frost after so many years. Suddenly, Yifan had an urge to fall in love with Sang Yan. Si Chao called her, and Yifan asked her out, saying she wanted to pursue Sang Yan. With Si Chao's encouragement, Yifan decided to risk her life once, and she also wanted to be the passionate one. After returning home, Yifan saw that the light in Sang Yan's room was still on, so she sent him a message. After replying, Sang Yan was secretly happy for a while and then reminded Yifan that his birthday was still 69 days away. Sang Yan counts down to his birthday every day, and Yifan is quite happy about it, but she has no idea how to pursue him. Su Tian reminds her that she can start with his hobbies. Sang Yan likes to play mobile games and she downloaded it to practice. Mu Cheng Yun saw it, snatched the phone, and added her as a friend without permission. He said that she could invite him to play whenever she was free. At the overtime shareholders meeting, Sang Yan boasted that a girl was pursuing him recently. Although he also liked her, he should have just waited since she wanted to seduce him. Just as the gossip was directed at Su Hao, Si Chao came. When Su Hao saw her, his eyes were full of ripples, and everyone knew something was wrong. Su Hao was gentle and immediately let Si Chao into the private room. They seemed to be looking forward to this meeting, so they had a good chat, so much that she forgot the purpose of coming to him this time. Sang Yan returned from the party and found that Yifan, who was sleepwalking, had slept in his bed again. After she woke up, she saw Sang Yan sleeping on the sofa. He admitted that she squeezed her out. After hearing this, Yifan put her arms around Sang Yan's neck and said that this would be the situation now if he didn't lock the door. He looked at her and put her face close to her. Yifan quickly pushed away. Sang Yan pulled her over, hugged her, and asked if she dared now. She timidly said no and fled in a hurry. There were 15 days left before Sang Yan's birthday. In the evening, she mustered up the courage to take the initiative to tell him that she had found a restaurant with unique features and wanted to invite Sang Yan to taste it together. He hid his inner joy and agreed without showing any emotion. As soon as he got off work on Friday, Yifan rushed home, dressed up specially, and even sprayed the perfume Sang Yan gave him. The two went to Spring Garden restaurant together. Sang Yan's colleagues were also having a party there, so their date turned into a company dinner, including Yifan's stepsister Kahia. She had just come to the company for an internship. She never took Yifan seriously, but seeing Sang Yan defending Yifan everywhere, she was worried that Sang Yan, as her superior, would make things difficult for her. Kahia asked Yifan to help him speak to his superiors so he could easily pass this internship, but Yifan said no. From Kahia's words, she finally realized Sang Yan's special treatment. Seeing that Yifan didn't like being there, Sang Yan took her away first. She received a call from the station. A tunnel suddenly collapsed, and she had to go on a business trip. Sang Yan's birthday was coming soon, and he hoped Yifan could return soon. On the way, Kahia added Yifan on WeChat again, saying she wanted to send a photo, and Yifan agreed immediately. It was a photo of their party. Although they were not standing in the same position, Sang Yan's eyes always followed Yifan. All the staff of Nanwu TV rushed to the scene quickly and they began to report on the scene. A total of 18 people were in danger in this tunnel collapse, most of whom were slightly injured. When a little girl named Jia was rescued, she cried and begged the rescue team to save her father, because her father was still buried in the car under the rubble. The injured were quickly sent to the hospital for rescue. The staff of Nanwu TV was divided into two groups. One continued to stay at the scene to report, and the other went to a hospital to follow up on the report. Yifan ran non-stop in the mud and water for a day and returned to the hotel to write the copy. The girl in the same room admired her energy very much. She slept less and got up early, but she didn't feel tired. Sang Yan sent a voice message, and Yifan went out to answer it. He heard that it was raining heavily in her voice, so he reminded her to keep warm and not catch a cold. Jia's father was finally found, and the father and daughter reunited in the hospital, but Jia's mother's expression clearly showed that she only cared about her daughter. It turned out that they had divorced and were currently fighting for Jia's custody. The little girl cried and hugged her father, saying that she wanted to be with her father forever. The father said affectionately that he had hesitated to give up custody before because he felt that Jia's mother could provide her with better living and educational conditions. It was this experience of danger that changed his mind. Life is impermanent, and you have to be with the most important person in your life so that you will not have any regrets. Jia's mother heard the words of her ex-husband and daughter at the door, and turned away silently. Yifan caught up and invited her to be interviewed, but she refused. She said that although she divorced her ex-husband, she respected the choices of her ex-husband and daughter and would no longer fight for the custody of her daughter. Yifan was deeply touched by the experience of Jia's family, and everything reminded her of every bit of being with Sang Yan. She decided not to leave any regrets in her life. Yifan went to the noodle shop that she and Sang Yan often visited before. She took a photo and rarely posted it on WeChat Moments. She felt that Sang Yan deserved all the good things in the world, so she made up her mind to call Sang Yan and asked him to consider her pursuit. In her mind were all kinds of scenes of her being with Sang Yan before. The rain has been falling and there is no sign of stopping. Yifan was sitting by the window, thinking that she would never come again. At this time, a voice sounded behind her, and Sang Yan came in with an umbrella. He told the boss that he was there to pick his girlfriend up. Yifan was surprised and happy that he could find her here. After leaving the store, the two of them went out with an umbrella. Sang Yan took off his coat and put it on her. He looked into Yifan's eyes and said, "Have you noticed that I still only like you after all these years?" She shyly replied wittily that she liked him too. Sang Yan was so happy when heard that. They went back to the hotel. It was already late, and the high-speed train to Nanwu had long been gone. Yifan suggested that Sang Yan register a room in the hotel where she was staying, and he agreed. He saw that there was a wound behind Yifan's ear and asked her nervously what happened. She reassured him, said that she was scratched by gravel at the interview site, but it was healed. Sang Yan said that he came here for a birthday present, and when Yifan turned around, he took the opportunity to kiss her. They then became confused. At this time, someone knocked on the door. Sang Yan opened the door and found that the pizza he ordered had arrived. The two picked up the pizza, ate it slowly and enjoyed the moment together. When she returned to her room, she received a message from Si Chao, telling her that Sang Yan had posted announcing that he had a girlfriend. Yifan happily replied that his girlfriend was herself. Si Chao was surprised and asked her to tell details when she returned. Si Chao ran into Shang Lang when she went out to meet Su Hao. She revealed that Sang Yan and Yifan were officially dating, which left Shang Lang feeling disappointed. He insisted that he was fine and asked Si Chao when she would worry about herself a little. Su Hao was dissatisfied and wanted to openly confess his love to Si Chao in front of Shang Lang, but she stopped him, realizing that Su Hao was misunderstanding. Shang Lang explained that he and Si Chao were just close friends. After a while of talk, they had a quarrel for no apparent reason and Su Hao left in anger. The next day, colleagues from the TV station were going back to Nanwu, and Sang Yan also checked out and went with them. Mu Chengyun strongly disapproved of Sang Yan's pursuit of a girl, thinking that it would put pressure on Yifan. No wonder he always failed. Sang Yan said calmly that this was no longer a problem, and Yifan also affirmed that they were officially dating. Yifan returned home and lay on the sofa tiredly. Sang Yan reminded her to ask for her birthday present, and she hurriedly took it out of the cabinet. It turned out to be a brown coat. Sang Yan was even more handsome after putting it on. Ever since knowing that Yifan accepted Sang Yan, Mu Chengyun didn't understand why not him. He thought that Yifan must have suffered a lot of grievances from Sang Yan. She explained that she didn't feel wronged. She liked Sang Yan since high school, but it was not clear at that time. She comforted Mu Chengyun that he would meet someone who liked each other in the future. Su Hao met Shang Lang, wanting to know more about Si Chao. He didn't dare to ask Yifan, fearing that Si Chao would be angry if she knew. Shang Lang told Su Hao that although she looked impetuous on the surface, she was not as happy as she seemed. She kept everything in her heart and just cooperated with them blindly. She always remembered Shang Lang and Yifan's birthdays every year. Among the three of them, she was not the most central person, but the most central person always needed her. Su Hao now had a sympathetic look towards her. Sang Yan and Yifan started dating like a couple. He knew Yifan was eager to ride the Ferris wheel, so he bought a ticket to ride with her despite his fear of heights. On the Ferris wheel, the flashing neon lights surrounded them. As the height increased, the colors changed from different angles. Yifan asked him if he was afraid. Sang Yan said stubbornly that there was no word, fear, in his dictionary. She thought of his reaction when he watched a horror movie that time and laughed. Sang Yan heard the conversation between the two people, saying that if they could kiss on the top of the Ferris wheel, they could grow old together. He suggested riding it again. After the two sat back, Sang Yan was so focused on the words of the passerby that he was looking for an opportunity to kiss, so he didn't care whether he was afraid or not. The Ferris wheel was about to reach the top. Sang Yan was so excited that he made preparations early and seized the time to complete his long-planned action. In fact, Yifan also heard that sentence, so she also actively cooperated with Sang Yan. After a passionate kiss, the two reluctantly separated, but smiles had already rippled on their lips. Yifan returned home, thinking about the passionate kiss with Sang Yan. The feeling of happiness came over her and she could not get rid of it. Suddenly, someone sent a photo by an unfamiliar number. It was a photo taken at the door of the hotel when she went to Bayou for an interview last time. At that time, she heard a man calling her name and thought she was hallucinating. She called the number back, and a voice that she never wanted to hear in her life sounded, saying that he missed her too much. Yifan quickly hung up the phone in fear. The next day, she decorated for Lunar New Year and then went to the kitchen to cook for Sang Yan. Her cooking skills are not bad, and Sang Yan ate with relish. Yifan said that since she was with Sang Yan, she has been under much less pressure and sleepwalking has become less frequent. Looking at her red eyes, he comforted her, promising that he would not let her be sad. After dinner, Yifan just sat down to watch a movie with Sang Yan when she received several messages from Kahia. She complained that not only did the relatives from Yifan's father's side stay at her house, but her aunt also kept asking her mother for money. Yifan didn't say anything, but she began to feel heavy again. Yifan still started to tell her story. She talked about the sad experience of her father's death, her mother remarrying, and then she returned to her grandmother and finally was thrown to her aunt's house. Sang Yan hugged her distressed-edly and said that based on her vision of choosing a boyfriend, she deserved the best, and he would be able to catch her no matter what happened in the future. Yifan received a call from boss Qian saying there was an emergency. A taxi rushed straight into a noodle restaurant because of lost control. The driver and the co-driver were injured. Yifan saw the driver's face. She quickly hid aside, and her breathing became rapid. The man seemed to recognize Yifan and did not forget to stare at her on the stretcher. Becca feared that the other party would recognize him. Yifan deliberately removed his name when broadcasting the news. When she returned late at night, she went to the kitchen and hugged Sang Yan for a long time. She secretly swore in her heart that she would treat Sang Yan well in the future and would not treat him like before. After letting go, she kissed him lightly and returned to her room. Sang Yan could not accept flirting and running behavior, so he called Yifan and hugged and kissed her. He complained about Yifan's poor kissing skills, so he did not forget to teach her while drinking porridge. Su Hao felt sorry for Si Chao, who was always thinking about others, but in her opinion, she was satisfied and happy only when the people around her were happy. He asked Si Chao if she missed him during this period. She said that she did, but she didn't want him to know that she missed him. After hearing this, Su Hao kissed her directly. Recalling Sang Yan's complaints about her kissing skills, Yifan started practicing in front of the mirror, but she felt shy after practicing for a while. Yifan gave Sang Yan the Valentine's Day gift she had prepared in advance. She didn't want to have a candlelight dinner like everyone else because she felt Sang Yan was special. There was a small snowflake on the bracelet, which meant frost. After Yifan put it on Sang Yan, she asked him to put on a bracelet with small mulberry leaves on it for her. Sang Yan's gift was a recorder with a lot of carefully recorded words. Yifan regrets very much that she did not participate in Sang Yan's college life. If possible, she would like to participate in every moment of his life and share every joy, anger, sorrow and happiness. Yifan prepared to meet Sang Yan after getting off work. Mu Chengyun sent her out and sincerely wished her happiness. After receiving a call from Sang Yan, when Yifan got in the car in a hurry and didn't notice a pair of eyes staring at her, Sang Yan waited for her to show their affection in a high-profile manner. In front of everyone, Yifan personally admitted that he was the one who pursued Sang Yan. Yifan drank a lot at the banquet. Sang Yan helped the drunkard to wait for the car outside. Yifan told him that she was already saving money and would support him in the future to prevent him from smiling at other girls. She was so dizzy after getting off the taxi that she couldn't even stand. Sang Yan lovingly carried her on his back and promised her that she must not rely on her looks to make a living. Yifan talked about how she was always gossiped about behind her back when she was in the news department of Yihei TV station. After that, she lay down again and looked at the stars in the sky. She admitted that she didn't like Yihei and Beiyu. Only Nanwu had someone she cared about. Sang Yan prepared a hangover soup for her. Yifan lay on the sofa and didn't want to move. She didn't want to go to bed because she was too drunk and smelled terrible. Yifan pounced on Sang Yan and said she wanted to sleep in his arms. She finally went to bed, and he turned to leave. She apologized to him again for his escape. When Sang Yan woke up, he found Yifan hugging him. Yifan was sober. She said embarrassedly that she was sleepwalking again. Yifan went to find Sang Yan, and accidentally ran into her aunt's brother coming down the stairs. Fortunately, Sang Yan appeared in time to protect her. Shinga suddenly grabbed her arm. Seeing this, Sang Yan shouted at him to let go, and his colleagues came to help, finally driving Shinga away. Sang Yan was worried about Yifan, but she said she could handle it, which was no big deal. Yifan sleepwalked again at night and kept staring at the wall clock. Seeing her crying in her dream, Sang Yan felt very distressed. He took Yifan's hand and sent her back to the room. Although lying on the bed, she did not intend to let go, so Sang Yan simply lay down beside her. The next day, Yifan cooked 2 big bowls of noodles, and Sang Yan ate them with gusto. Shinga became the security guard of the TV station building. Yifan worked overtime until late and was caught up by him when she left. Yifan turned to go, but Shinga grabbed her and threw her against the wall, threatening that if she didn't do what he wanted, he would tell everyone that she had seduced him and tried to kill him. Just as Yifan was frightened, Mu Changyan arrived and Shinga left. Sang Yan was worried about her. So he came to the restaurant for Mu Changyan's farewell banquet after working overtime. The next day, a customer reported that the food in the overtime restaurant had caused food poisoning. The food safety issue attracted an investigation by the Market Supervision and Administration Bureau and Nanwu TV station. After Sang Yan dealt with the crisis, he saw Shinga at the door. Fu Zhuang and his team came to interview him. Sang Yan specifically asked him not to tell Yifan. As expected, all of this was related to Shinga. He had been holding a grudge since he was kicked out for overtime work last time and deliberately asked someone to cause trouble. Due to the intervention of the Municipal Supervision Bureau and the fermentation of public opinion, the overtime work was sealed off. After seeing this, Sichao called Yifan. She suspected that it was Shinga's doing. Just then, her mother sent a message. She heard from Shinga that there are no good people who run restaurants and bars and that restaurants and bars are not serious places. She reminded Yifan not to associate with questionable people. Yifan went to her mother's house in the rain. She solemnly warned everyone not to get involved with her no matter what they did. Her aunt talked about the grace of raising her. Yifan retorted that her family's surgery fee and her son's school tuition were all paid by her father, and he never asked for it back. Her mother also talked about the grace of raising her. Yifan looked at her and said, "You can afford to raise me, but I dare not." Before leaving, Yifan said with a determined look on her face that if they dared to hurt the people around her, she would fight for her life. Sang Yan saw Yifan returning soaked and immediately took a towel to dry her off. He heard that his sister hadn't come home for the summer break and had a boyfriend who was quite old, so the family asked him to check on her. Sang Yan told her to take care of her health these days and to bring an umbrella so she wouldn't get wet like today. Yifan didn't say anything and then cried on his shoulder. She held back her sadness and kissed him. Sang Yan was apprehensive about her but still pretended to be okay. The next day, she sent him off to the airport. She returned home and looked at everything in the room. It seemed like she intended to disappear again. It was true. Sang Yan hurried back to see Su Hao and Si Chao waiting there. Yifan left the cat with a farewell letter. She had just met her mother, determined to protect Sang Yan to death, but now she went the way she had treated him before. I really feel heartbroken for the male lead in the movie. Sang Yan immediately reported to the police but didn't get any results. He blamed himself for not understanding her enough. It turned out that she had gone to Hong Kong to live a new life. The next day, Sang Yan started looking for her in vain. He went to her university and even her internship to ask about Yifan. He even went to the room where she stayed at the university. After stepping out, he saw Yifan's uncle. He immediately chased him to his workplace. Only after hearing Fu Zhang's talk did Sang Yan know he was working as a security guard there. Shinga looked at him with a defiant face. But Sang Yan couldn't do anything more. Si Chao received Yifan's message, so she immediately called to ask and scold Yifan. Yifan just wanted to call to inform them that she was fine now and that no one should worry about her. Then she hung up without saying anything more. Si Chao told Sang Yan that Yifan called her to report that she was safe. Yifan was used to hiding her inner thoughts, and her world was pitifully small as if her life was trapped. The cramped environment reminded Yifan of her first visit to her aunt's house. The utility room was full of things, and she had to clean up a place for himself to sleep. When Shinga first met Yifan, he looked sour and didn't forget to steal a few glances at Yifan during dinner. She studied in the room late at night, and Shinga went in without knocking. She sat next to Yifan and said he wanted to see her homework. He also patted her on the shoulder, which scared Yifan so much that he trembled. Fortunately, her aunt returned in time, and he retreated after hearing the noise, although the family was gloomy. Fortunately, there was Sang Yan, the little sunshine. They agreed to work hard together and take the entrance exam for Nanwu University together. She wanted to go back to Nanwu to accompany Sang Yan, because she had to prepare for the exam. Yifan asked Sang Yan not to run back and forth anymore, and they could meet again when the admission letter came out. The rain in Bayou never stopped, and it was wet everywhere. On this day, Shinga tricked Yifan out of the room when no one was at home and made a move on her while asking Yifan to find seasoning. Yifan struggled to avoid it. And at this time, her aunt and uncle came back. They realized what happened but didn't react at all. Yifan cried and begged her mother to take her away, but her mother casually hung up the phone. One night after the college entrance examination, Shinga secretly opened Yifan's door while she was sleeping. Just when he tried to lie down next to her, she jumped up like a spring and pointed the utility knife at Shinga. After Shinga's hand was scratched, he became even more perverted. In desperation, she opened the anti-theft window directly. Yifan jumped down from the second floor, and Shinga fell with her during the tug-of-war. Yifan couldn't stand it anymore and called the police. Her aunt complained to her mother that her brother was drunk and entered the wrong room. Now not only did he break his leg, but he was also charged with rape. Her mother also felt that Yifan was making a fuss and that his uncle was a good man, because she was a minor. She needed a guardian to accompany her when she was taking the statement, but her mother quickly slipped away on the pretext that her husband had to go to work, leaving only the police to help her limp outside. Shang Lang caught Yifan relaxing at the river. He called her name, but she quickly left in the crowd. One was in Nanwu, and the other was in Hong Kong. Looking at Sang Yan's countless missed voices, Yifan still didn't reply. Half a year had passed in a flash, and Yifan was still living alone. Shinga was working overtime and flirting with a female customer. Sang Yan saw this and caught him. Shinga did not change his bad habits and deliberately provoked Sang Yan with words. Sang Yan was utterly enraged and beat him until he could no longer move. He was covered in wounds but insisted not to go to the hospital. After putting on the band-aid, he found Shang Lang waiting for him. He told Sang Yan that he seemed to have seen Yifan in Hong Kong. He immediately flew to Hong Kong and followed Shang Lang's clues to find Yifan bit by bit. From the old landlord, Sang Yan learned that Yifan changed his surname to Sang and was living a tough life. After many days of searching without success and with a tight work schedule, he had to return to Nanwu. But he asked Shang Lang to help him. Yifan became a teacher at the dance studio she had visited on a business trip to Hong Kong, and the children were thrilled. Si Chao and Su Hao went to Hong Kong to find Yifan, and the two asked for a room. Although they slept in the same bed, he always reminded himself not to overstep the line. Si Chao was pleased that Su Hao had such a change, so she went forward and kissed him and said, "I want us to be together." Su Hao was stunned momentarily and couldn't help it anymore, so he pressed Si Chao down and kissed her passionately. At the critical moment, he suddenly realized that there was no condom. So the two sat on the bed together, waiting for the sunrise. When Yifan demonstrated foot movements to students, she always landed unnaturally but refused to admit that she had a foot injury. Asen invited Yifan to dinner and advised her that happiness would always come after setbacks, and she listened. The next day, Si Chao and Su Hao waited for Yifan to pass by, and Si Chao immediately rushed over and hugged her. After making an appointment with Si Chao for dinner, Yifan took his old mobile phone from his suitcase. After opening it, several messages came in, including those from Sang Yan and Shinga. She told him that she would never escape again in her life. She said she was in Hong Kong and would make him get what he deserved. During dinner, Si Chao deliberately pulled Su Hao away to give Yifan space to let her contact Sang Yan, and she made a call. Sang Yan was writing a resignation report, and after receiving the call, Yifan said she wanted to meet him. Today, the children were going to compete on stage, but Sang Yan hadn't arrived yet, so Si Chao and Su Hao made an appointment. One would record the video inside, and the other would wait for Sang Yan at the door. Because the music file was broken, there was no sound when the children performed on stage, so Yifan simply beat the rhythm beside her. After Sang Yan went in, he saw her, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. He chose a seat and sat down, his eyes fixed on him as if he had melted into her. After the performance, Sang Yan called Yifan. She said the children were all pleased although they didn't get a ranking. Sang Yan said aggrievedly that he was happier to see you than anything else. After that, he hugged her deeply in his arms. The long-lost hug also made her face show a long-lost look of joy. Yifan is now working part-time and studying part-time. She confessed to Sang Yan the reason for her disappearance. He bought some medicine to apply to Yifan's feet, and she no longer concealed it. She told him everything about her foot injury when she jumped off the building to avoid Shinga, and now it recurred because of dancing, as well as the incident when she met Shinga in Nanwu. Hearing her choking up and talking about her experience, Sang Yan hugged her distressingly. She had been bearing all this alone for so many years, and no one stood by her side. Fortunately, she now has a firm man by her side. Yifan said that she really applied to Nanwu University at the beginning. She had no intention to hurt Sang Yan. The reason she kept avoiding him was because she felt that she was not worthy of him. Sang Yan said he only liked the best. And Yifan was the best. Sang Yan couldn't hold back and rushed over to press her down. They were immersed in the wonderful moment. After making love, Yifan felt confused by the hickey on her neck. Sang Yan teased her. He volunteered to let her retaliate, but she tactfully chased him out. During the dinner, Yifan happily said she was going home. And everyone was happy. She took him to her place to pack her luggage, although she had been in Hong Kong for a long time. Back in the country, Yifan goes on a relaxation with Su Tian. She suggested that Yifan return to the TV station. Yifan asked Sang Yan for his opinion, and he expressed his support for her continuing to do the job she likes. Now Yifan can finally relieve stress quickly, and her sleepwalking has dramatically improved. After confirming with the doctor, she returned to the TV station. Boss Qian notified Yifan and Fu Zhuang to go to Beiyu. There was a case of a female high school student missing a few years ago. Because there are new clues now, the police are currently looking for the body and hunting down the suspect. When they arrived at the police station, Yifan unexpectedly met the former police officer Chen. She was pleased to see that Yifan was doing well now. When entering the headquarters, Yifan accidentally met her aunt's daughter-in-law, Zheng Di. She had denounced her uncle, who was none other than Shinga. Yifan approached her and expressed her sympathy. Zheng Di asked heartbrokenly, "Why must we suffer like this?" She began to tell the story. That day, she had just finished bathing when her uncle barged in and tried to commit a lewd act. Fortunately, her mother-in-law intervened in time. The mother asked her not to call the police. Then she scolded her drunk brother. Zheng Di took out her phone and recorded the conversation between the two sisters. That was when she learned that he had slain the neighbor's daughter. It was Mrs. Che who helped him bury the poor girl that year. Zheng Di decided to call the police to protect her life. After telling Yifan the whole story, Zheng Di also felt relieved. Yifan fully supported her actions. The missing girl was precisely as Zheng Di had described. Yifan clearly remembered Lin Yu as a cold girl. Yifan visited her home. After seeing her portrait, Yifan was choked up. The day before Lin Yu went missing, father and daughter had argued. He was extremely remorseful and tormented for making his daughter angry that day. The tragedy would not have happened if he had listened to Lin Yu that day. Yifan returned to the company and thought deeply. At night, she texted Sang Yan to ask for a pickup. Sang Yan saw Shinga lurking outside the door, so he immediately called the police and Nanwu TV station to get to the location. He then decided to duel the bastard. Sang Yan thought he could defeat Shinga again, but he was accidentally injured because Shinga had a weapon to defend himself. Yifan waited too long and called Sang Yan back. Suddenly, a stranger picked up the phone and informed her of the situation. She rushed to the hospital and cried in fear. Stuck in traffic, she was about to go for a run when an unknown number called. It turned out that Sang Yan was informing her that he was fine. Yifan arrived and coldly scolded him, making him highly flustered. She was so agitated that she scolded him non-stop for this foolish action. Sang Yan explained why he did that. He had let her endure for so many years just because of that bastard, so he wanted to do something big so he wouldn't feel guilty. Back home, Yifan kept staring at him. He made an excuse to take a shower and she followed him. She helped him take off his clothes and wiped his body. Unable to bear it, he asked to kiss her and she listened. Ultimately, Shinga and her sister were arrested and had to pay for their actions. That year, Shinga saw Lin Yu sitting alone crying and went to ask what happened. She honestly said that her father refused to read the book she wrote herself. He borrowed it, read it, and then did something terrible. His sister was scared when she saw the body of the neighbor girl. Shinga comforted her sister and then buried her carefully. After consideration, the court decided to sentence Shinga to death. His sister was an accomplice and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Everything was cleared up. The most grateful person was probably Lin Yu's father. Yifan and Sang Yan walked around town. She exclaimed that this candy was so sweet when she ate it. Sang Yan wanted to try it too and suddenly kissed her. Yifan felt her current life was worth living because she no longer had to fear anything. Her son loved her as much as she loved the sun. The next day, the president asked her to prepare a performance for the upcoming year-end party, with the support of her colleagues. She happily agreed. When she returned home, she found Sang Yan arguing with her sister on the phone. He was unpleased because her boyfriend was too old. Yifan invited him to join his company's year-end party. How could he dare refuse? The next day, Yifan was working when her mother came to see her. Today was also her birthday, so her mother wanted to meet her to celebrate. Her mother ordered her favorite strawberry cake. She regretted not knowing her brother's true nature. It was too late for her to say anything now. Before leaving, Yifan expressed her disappointment to her mother. With all the cold and indifferent treatment she had given Yifan in the past, she still chose not to forgive her mother. Yifan walked towards Sang Yan absent-mindedly. He comforted her with sweet words, and she felt relieved. The year-end party was about to begin. Yifan informed Sang Yan about the time of her ballet performance. He was about to leave when his colleague called him into the conference room to deal with an urgent matter. Yifan waited for a long time but still did not see Sang Yan. When it was her turn to perform, Sang Yan arrived in time. He thought she was singing, but unexpectedly, she was dancing ballet, looking at her graceful swan-like movements. He remembered his memories and her burning passion for ballet. The performance was cheered by everyone. When they met in the lobby, he wore her coat to keep her warm. Returning to the room, he immediately kissed her. He confessed that she looked beautiful and radiant dancing, but he wanted her to shine in his world. Yifan took the initiative to kiss him, and of course this beautiful swan could not escape the hunter who was lusting her. He gently kissed her back, slowly enjoying the romantic moment together. They returned to Sang Yan's house the next day to celebrate the new year. Seeing that everyone in the family welcomed her, she was pleased and grateful. Sang Yan's mother served her food at dinner and looked affectionately at her. They talked about their high school days and expressed their fondness for Yifan since then. His parents were so happy that the two were about to become a couple. Yifan felt extremely warm when she was immersed in the loving atmosphere of Sang Yan's family. In the middle of the night, Yifan knocked on Sang Yan's door. He pulled her into the room and kissed her deeply. She expressed that she really enjoyed living in this happy home. Before returning to the room, he asked her to kiss him passionately. They packed their things to move to Sang Yan's house the next day. She saw the old iron box and opened it. Inside were photos and tickets he had saved up to visit her. She didn't expect that he had quietly come to her university just to follow her life. She had no idea that he had been so close to her. Sang Yan sadly recounted those times when he felt hurt. But he didn't blame her. On the contrary, he felt happy because now he was living and loving the person he loved. Yifan hugged him happily. Su Hao and Si Chao attended the high school anniversary celebration. Surprisingly, Sang Yan and Yifan also participated. The four of them took many photos together. Sang Yan ran away and shouted Yifan's name. He brought up the year when they first met. On the first day of school that year, he was late. His father took him to middle school because he didn't think his son was in 10th grade. They walked to their seats together that year, reminiscing, looking back at everything they had experienced. They had been happy and sad together and were each other's sunshine and motivation when they went to school. It was late afternoon. Sang Yan ran up to the podium and pulled out the board. Oh my God! It was a romantic confession that Su Hao and Si Chao witnessed. Yifan cried when she saw the words of confidence and blessings from everyone who loved her and Sang Yan. Everyone hoped that Sang Yan and Yifan would be the happiest couple in the world. He opened the ballerina jewelry box with the ring inside. He boldly proposed to her. Hesitantly but sincerely, Yifan confessed that she had been looking forward to this moment. He kissed her in sweet happiness when the ring was placed on her finger. Together, they made a promise to love him for the rest of their lives. This marks the happy ending of drama. If you'd like to see more dramas like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and let us know in the comments how you liked this drama.